Will the announcement bring lasting peace to West Asia?
Thank you. It's very good to be here. I think your question is a very important question, and I think it shouldn't be directed at me. I think that Israel has shown from the beginning that it wants a peace. And when I talk about from the beginning, I'm talking about since 1948, since the establishment of Israel. Israel was trying from the beginning to live a quiet life, and on October 7th, 2023, was brutally invaded by Hamas, by a terrorist organization that was completely inhumane in the way it acted, and has been acting so, still holding about 20 live hostages and about 30 hostages who are not alive anymore. And this is something that Israel has been trying to end repeatedly. Israel has been trying to return the hostages and to maintain a situation where it's not threatened anymore. This is what Israel is striving for and is still striving for. And I think this agreement is something that's very close to addressing these needs and realizing these needs. And I hope very much that Hamas will accept this proposal and will actually be able to lead to long-lasting peace.
How do you describe this 20-point peace program? I mean to say, I think this is the biggest probably after the Oslo Accords in terms of a comprehensive arrangement.
So I think the most important thing to understand is the fact that it addresses, like I said before, it addresses Israel's needs for security. And it realizes, we can talk about the points, and I don't think we have time to do so, but I think there are experts and analysis is talking in depth about each of the points and exactly what each point means. But I think the most important things to understand is that it talks about Israel's right to get the hostages back. It talks about the disarmament of Hamas and the ability of Israel to be safe and to feel safe in its land. And that's what's important. It also has concessions to Hamas, basically freeing some of the terrorists who are being held in Israeli prisons today and other things. But for Israel, what has always been most important and remains being most important is returning the hostages and maintaining the safety of Israel, long-lasting safety of Israel.
Madam, with so many terror outfits operating, what is the guarantee that the old will not fuse into the new one? Something which India has seen in Kashmir, because this peace plan also is very clear about Hamas, that they have to leave Gaza. The terrorist infrastructure needs to be dismantled, but Indian experience has shown that the terrorists very rarely do so. They metamorphose into a new world or a new organization, and they continue to do the same thing.
So I think that's one of the main concerns that we've had all along, and I think that's something that the international community is very important. It's very important for the international community to be involved and to make sure that it allows Israel, if Israel sees that things aren't staying peaceful, if Palestinians are not committed to peace, and we see again a threat to try and conquer and try and invade Israel, to try and hurt Israelis, that's something that the international community should always be aware of and always keep its eye open and allow Israel to react when it happens. But I think there's also a more important issue that has to be addressed in this sense. I think it has to start with education within the Palestinian community. And that's another place where international community can put its pressure. Today, I think children in Palestinian territories, in Gaza and in other places, are being educated from a very young age to hate Israel, to hurt Israelis, and this is something that we can't accept. We see that we see a pay-for-slay regime even within the Palestinian Authority, where terrorists are being paid after they commit terrorist acts. So this is something that, of course, encourages terrorism, and the education encourages terrorism. So that's something that has to stop in order for the peace to be long-lasting and for not just to have history repeat itself as you suggested. And that's something that, of course, the Palestinians should have it should be accountable for, but the international community must insist and put pressure if it really wants to see long-lasting peace in the Middle East.
I think you said something very important, indoctrination, but indoctrination in context of people living in Gaza and West Bank, but there's also, madam, larger indoctrination, which is about that Israel is not just, they have not done the right thing. How do you fight them? Because indoctrination is also like a narrative war to create an image of Israel which suits your political interest domestically.
Yeah, I think that's something that Israel is facing throughout the whole last 2 years. I think that understanding the history of Israel and the history of the conflict that's been going on for years now is something that's complicated. To really understand it, you have to sit, you have to learn, you have to be open-minded. And that's something that many people aren't willing to do. They're not willing to, a lot of people just want a one-liner. We see, a TikTok generation, they want to learn everything they know from a 15-second TikTok video or from a post on Twitter, and they don't want to actually really sit and study history in depth and understand it. Also, and also, they're not always open-minded. People make up their mind very, very fast, and don't really, and for some reason don't want to listen to the other side. This is not only true for the conflict in the Middle East. It's true for many things. And I think having people realize this and having the whole society be a lot more open-minded, willing to listen to the other side, even if they don't agree in the end, but willing to understand and accept that there is another side. That's something that has to be done for the world, for the world as a whole to become a better place right now, and especially for the Middle East.
But weren't you surprised that universities are supposed to be places where you open your mind to the world, but the American universities were the one which were completely dominated by the pro-Palestinian protests 6 months ago. They became non-functional. Was that surprising?
So I think it's not true that it completely dominated. I think what we're seeing is that one side is very loud, very violent, and tries to use tactics to shut the other side up, not to let anybody speak about the other things that they disagree with them. They present themselves as being democratic. They present themselves as being liberal, but really, in reality, they won't let any idea that doesn't fit exactly the way they think be heard. So they act violently, and they do very loud and very violent protests sometimes. But it doesn't mean that this is a majority. They want to look like a majority. And they're very intimidating, they're bullying, but they're not necessarily a majority.
Very well said. There is a very old saying, madam, that if popular opinion is illiberal, then liberal opinion can be undemocratic. My next question to you, madam, is, do you think that Hamas is going to accept it, a terrorist organization, accepting to dismantle itself and walk away?
I don't know. This is something that we're going to have to see. I very much hope so. I very, very much hope and pray that these people, these awful terrorists, will for once think of their people, think of the Palestinian people who are suffering, and do the right thing, not only for Israel, but for the Palestinians who are suffering terribly under their regime for the past 2 years, of course, but also since 2005, where they violently took over the Gaza Strip after democratically being elected, and then changing their whole perception and really using the people and using the funds that entered into Gaza in order only to expose hate and to try and destroy things rather than build the Palestinian people and help the Palestinian people.